Welcome to Antitrust Insider, where we dissect the biggest frauds, scams, and cons. Today, Elizabeth Holmes, the Silicon Valley genius who promised to revolutionize blood testing and instead became the face of one of the biggest frauds in tech history. I've seen it all. For nearly 25 years, I worked at the DOJ, where I investigated some of the largest antitrust cases in the country. Now in retirement, I'm working for you. Welcome to the Antitrust Insider. In January 2022, a jury found Elizabeth Holmes guilty on 4 counts of fraud for lying to investigators about Theranos blood testing technology. Though she faced 20 years in prison, Elizabeth Holmes was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in federal prison for defrauding investors in Theranos. She was ordered to surrender to prison on May 30th, 2023, and is currently serving her sentence at a minimum security facility in Texas. Was justice served, or was Holmes a scapegoat for Silicon Valley's fake-it-till-you-make-it culture? Today, you are the jury. We'll break down the defense and prosecution's strongest arguments with all the charges regarded as one single count, and then you decide guilty or not guilty. But first, let's start with some background and case details. Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford at 19 to found Theranos, a company claiming it could run hundreds of blood tests with just a single drop of blood. She raised $900 million from investors like Rupert Murdoch and even Henry Kissinger, valuing Theranos at $9 billion at its peak. But by 2015, a bombshell Wall Street Journal investigation exposed the truth. Theranos machines didn't work. Patients got false cancer diagnoses, the Pentagon was misled, and Holmes allegedly faked demos by secretly using competitor machines. At trial, prosecutors argued Holmes knew she was lying, citing emails where engineers warned her and evidence she doctored reports to show fake progress. The defense? She was a young, ambitious CEO who truly believed in her vision and got in over her head. The jury convicted her on 4 of 11 counts, but acquitted her on patient-related fraud. Some called it a slap on the wrist. Others said it was a warning to Silicon Valley. Now, let's hear the best arguments from both sides. The case for the defense. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is not about a con artist. It is about a young woman who dreamed too big, moved too fast, and paid the price for trying to innovate in one of the most rigid industries in America, healthcare. Elizabeth Holmes was 19 years old when she dropped out of Stanford, not to scam, but to build. She poured herself into a vision where no one would have to endure a long, painful blood draw ever again. She believed passionately that a single drop of blood could unlock a revolution in diagnostics. Indeed, Theranos failed, but failure, especially in the world of startups, is not the same as fraud. In Silicon Valley, founders are often told to fake it till you make it. That's not just a slogan, it's a survival mechanism. Holmes surrounded herself with PhDs, engineers, former cabinet secretaries, and senior advisors. When they told her the technology needed more time, she believed them. She had every reason to. She wasn't ignoring warnings. She was managing a storm of pressure, technical uncertainty, and billion-dollar expectations. She didn't profit from fraud. She reinvested in the company. She lived modestly for someone who ran a $9 billion startup. Now let's talk about intent. Prosecutors claim she knowingly misled partners and investors, but think about the pressure she was under. When Walgreens and Safeway came knocking, they wanted to be first to market. They pushed timelines. They demanded rollouts. She was caught between her investors' expectations and the reality of cutting-edge science. In hindsight, yes, she should have stopped, slowed down, and disclosed more. But hindsight isn't justice. No one is saying there weren't mistakes, but if believing too much in your vision is a crime, if trusting your experts too much is a crime, then the entire innovation economy is at risk. Investors like Tim Draper still stand by her, not because they're blind, but because they saw what she was trying to do. They knew the road would be rough, and they didn't believe she ever set out to deceive. Elizabeth Holmes wasn't a criminal. She was a dreamer in over her head, pushed beyond the brink by a culture that rewards bold promises and punishes second-guessing. The law shouldn't confuse overconfidence with fraud or idealism with criminal intent. The case for the prosecution. This case isn't about failure. It's about fraud, calculated, sustained, and dangerous. Elizabeth Holmes didn't just dream big and come up short. She lied repeatedly to investors, to partners, to patients, and to the public. She didn't just believe her technology would work someday. She knew it didn't work, and she said it did anyway. She faked product demos. She took blood from real patients, ran it on commercial machines made by Siemens, and passed the results off as if they came from her own device. She altered reports, slapped the Pfizer logo on them, and sent them to investors to build credibility. She claimed the Pentagon was using Theranos devices in the battlefield. That was a lie. She told Walgreens executives the machine could run over 200 blood tests from a single drop. In reality, it couldn't reliably run even a dozen. Behind the scenes, her engineers were warning her. They told her the device was inaccurate. Some quit in protest. Others became whistleblowers. And what did Holmes do? She retaliated. She hired private investigators. She sent legal threats, and she tried her best to silence anyone who dared speak the truth. But, perhaps most damning of all, she didn't stop. Even after patients received false results, being told they had cancer, HIV, or other life-altering conditions based on junk science, she kept the charade going. She gambled with human lives. Let's talk about the money. Holmes raised over $900 million by selling a fantasy. She secured investments from influential figures like Rupert Murdoch, not with transparency, but with doctored reports and exaggerated claims, all while living in a $25,000 a month penthouse and using company funds for private jets. She wasn't scraping by, she was living large on the back of a lie. The defense wants to frame this story of a young, naive founder who got in over her head. But Holmes wasn't just a startup CEO. She was the CEO of People's Health. This isn't a tech product that failed to launch. It's a medical device that gave false results to real patients. And not just patients, real people, people like us. If we excuse this as believing in your vision, what message are we sending? That intent doesn't matter if your story is inspiring? That ambition can excuse deception? That Silicon Valley's culture of fake it till you make it gives you a pass on accountability? Elizabeth Holmes didn't just cross the line, she erased it. And if we want a future where innovation and integrity can coexist, the verdict must be clear. You don't get to lie, endanger lives, and defraud nearly $1 billion and just walk away. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Was Elizabeth Holmes a manipulative CEO who knowingly spun $1 billion lie, or a visionary founder who got swept up and crushed by the hype culture of Silicon Valley? Comment below, guilty or not guilty. And if you've got your own take on this, don't just vote, make your case. Thanks for watching the Antitrust Insider. Stay honest, stay vigilant, and I'll see you the next time in the courtroom of public opinion.